If you're not ready for this one, I don't know when you're going to be ready for this one. What is up, Finn fans? Game of the week could possibly end up being game of the year. The Miami Dolphins taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The first of a 3-game road trip. We take on LA next week, probably staying over on the West Coast, and then to Buffalo for what could be for the division. Big preview I got for you guys. I got Jesse from Last Second Sports on to help me cover the San Francisco 49ers. Get a little deeper dive there. We're going to talk about the beef that's happening between Raheem Mostert, not only Raheem Mostert, but Jeff Wilson versus his old team, all that stuff. I got some stuff from the ESPN being just horrible human beings towards Tua Tagovailoa. I will talk about all that stuff when I give my prediction towards the end of the video. We got injury report, which is a huge one for both teams, breakdown, 5 things, all that good stuff. But before we jump into all that stuff, there was no pick video this week. And some of you guys have noticed some. I will say, this isn't the reason there is no pick video. It is my least popular video that I do throughout the week. Normally the recap is probably one of the most popular, and the previews. The picks, hands down, barely breaks 5,000 views. One of the least popular videos. But that's not why there was no picks. I'm getting my kitchen redone, and it's just been an absolute nightmare this past week. So that's why there was no picks video. I had a lot planned. I talked about a lot. I did 99% of the stuff I had scheduled, even some more. And then when it came to the picks, it was just this on top of that and that. So I was like, you know what? This week, no picks. I'll get back into it next week. And then I said to myself, I don't think anyone's going to really notice or miss it. And some of you guys did. So it made me feel good that, some of you guys actually do like the picks video. Because, again, it's the least popular one, but I'll still keep doing them. I might actually start incorporating power rankings. Either for the end of this season and next season, I might start doing power rankings if you guys want me to do that. So let's jump into this Mama Jam. We're going to talk to Jesse from Last Second Sports. He gives us some really good insight on the San Francisco 49ers. I got my buddy Jesse here from Last Second Sports, fantastic 49ers channel. Go check it out. Jesse, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, Doug. Happy to be doing this with you.
I like your background. Last time you said when I was on your channel, you liked mine, but I like yours. I like you got the nice stuff. Like mine looks like Pee-wee's Playhouse behind me. Yours, on the other hand, it's very clean. I like your background a lot.
Yeah, it is clean, but we're really close to Christmas and you have the whole holiday set up. I can't compete with that, man. There's nobody in the world that's looking at our backgrounds and going, yeah, like Jesse's is better. Not a chance, Doug. Not a chance.
Jesse, what goes on over at your channel? I want everyone to know, and I want to send everyone over your way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We actually, there's 2 of us that run the channel, and that's why it's not centered around, either a 49er name or Detroit Lions name. But my buddy John and I, we do half the channel each. I run the 49er side. He runs the Detroit Lions side. So yeah, Last Second Sports, check it out. Most likely, if you're watching Doug's channel, you are a Miami Dolphins fan. But I will say this, we are playing you this week. And if the Dolphins win, I'm sure that there's a channel that you want to raid and talk a little trash in. That would be my channel. So come on over. We'll take you.
And they're very respectful. I make a point to be like, because when I live stream, I accept all fans as long as they're respectful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we have both respectful subscribers for the most part.
I agree. I think when you were on my channel, everybody, I've been doing this every week, and the Behind Enemy Lines show has become the most popular show because you get into these silos where, you just watch your team, you just pick up content on your team. And I think this is the new age, Doug. I mean, for me, when I look at things, I don't watch ESPN or Fox to figure out about other teams. I go to other content creators. So I said, hey, instead of just doing the research myself and bringing that back, why don't I just bring the content creator over to the channel and let them tell you all about their team? And it's been really popular. I think people love it. And I also love to give shine to other content creators because I think there's so much talent out there. And the 49ers community has a really good group of content creators, but so do other teams. And I genuinely just watch other content creators of other teams because they're entertaining. I absolutely love it. So anytime I can give a shine, anytime I can bring knowledge over to the people that watch my channel, I'm all for it.
Yeah, 100% agree with that because like there's big games. Like when the Jaguars beat the Ravens, I'm like Googling, I'm trying to find Jaguars YouTubers and I want to see reactions and stuff. So yeah, 100% correct on that one. Big game. Very
Huge.
big game on Sunday. You guys got a nice little update and surprise. CMC, what have you heard?
Yeah, CMC, it was a little touch and go. I will say this. I think a lot of people made it out to be possibly something that it wasn't. He didn't practice on Tuesday, didn't practice on Wednesday, and so people get a little squirrely. He was wearing a patellar tendon brace on his knee Sunday, but he did come back into the game, seemed to be walking fine. And we talked about it on my channel. You guys are in a situation with Teron Armstead where he's so important to the team that it's not, this game is big, but it's not necessarily worth risking a player of that caliber for the rest of the season. And I said the same thing about CMC with the thought in my head that, man, I really hope he goes because we want to win this game. He practiced today. He said he feels really good. That was a great sign. And not only him, but you know, Doug, this is going to be the healthiest our defense has been. Talk about another big time player coming back for the 49ers. Eric Armstead. I mean, he hasn't played for a majority of the season. He is our most important interior defender, and he should be suiting up for this game. So the 49ers are certainly getting some reinforcements for sure.
Yeah, and that only makes me more nervous about this game because on your channel we were talking about it, and my biggest fear was that defensive line versus our offensive line. As long, as long as Tua gets enough time, I think we should be okay. But speaking of that, what about the Dolphins kind of worries you? Like, what about the Dolphins? Are you like, we need to contain that or we're going to have a long day?
Oh, speed kills in real life. Speed kills. If you play Madden, you always want to get the fastest team. Even if they're a bunch of guys rated in the 70s, you're like, I want this team because they're super fast and speed kills. You guys have built your roster almost like a Madden roster. There is no weakness on that offense from a speed perspective. It is absolutely insane. And to be real with you, Josh Allen's fantastic. Mahomes is fantastic. Herbert's fantastic. Burrow, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks that are really good. And maybe guys that if I'm starting my team, I would take over Tua. However, Tua is perfect for this offense, in my opinion. Mike McDaniel loves to throw the ball in the middle of the field. You need somebody who's accurate. You need somebody who's a timing-based, rhythm-based passer, and somebody who has a quick release, a la Tua. And he is the perfect point guard to get the ball in the hands of those speedsters. And he can do it down the field. He presses you down the field. It's funny because the 49ers and Dolphins run a very similar offense. Obviously, coaching tree is exactly the same. However, the difference is those deep shots are dialed up in the 49ers offense, and Jimmy Garoppolo simply does not take them on a regular basis. Tua is the exact opposite. He will take them. So big chunk plays are not a problem for the Dolphins. And even when you have them in peculiar situations like 3rd and 13, you're never safe with the speed of that team. That is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of what it seemed like in the offseason the Dolphins are really going towards. Because they don't really run the ball that much, even though, with Jeff Wilson, who we brought him in, I didn't really know what we were getting out of him, but that man he's a monster. He loves the contact. And once I saw him against the Browns, I was like, this is a good running back. This is a really good running back. Speaking about that, apparently there's some animosity somewhat. I don't know if, Twitter and the media is blowing this out of proportion, but there's some animosity between Mostert, some of the other guys. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that, like we talked about on your channel, do you think something's building here, or do you think it's kind of something that's being made up out of nothing?
I think the animosity might be made up a little bit. As soon as I heard about it on Sunday live as I was doing my post game, and I immediately said, that doesn't sound like Mostert. Like, regardless of what they're saying, that just sounds out of character for Raheem Mostert. This is a guy who's very humble, very quiet, well-spoken, smart, calculated. It just didn't seem like something Mostert would do. And he came out and immediately clarified everything that he said. That being said, there doesn't have to be animosity for this to be a game that both teams really want to win, which is interesting when you have teams on opposite coasts, opposite conferences, opposite divisions. They couldn't be further apart. Usually those games don't become rivalry games. However, there has been a little banter back and forth, and mostly, let's be clear, the 49ers have a lot of players and coaches from last year that are now on the Miami Dolphins. And I think just growing up, think about when you played your friends in a sport, you always wanted to win for bragging rights.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are still friends. They do not want to talk after this game and be the ones that lost. They absolutely want to go out and win. And of course, professional athletes always want to win. I think this one, regardless of the crap talk, regardless of any of that, I think this one was circled on the calendars all year long for both teams.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Wes Welker, Arteta, and Coach Embry, like, yeah, once Mike McDaniel came over, he just started calling your guys and was like, "You coming? You coming? You coming?" So yeah, I agree 1,000% there. Looking at the 49ers, right? Your strength is that defense. That defense, I have some of your stats here. Number 1 in points, number 1 in yards, 11th in pass defense, number 1 in rush defense. It's a really good defense, plain and simple. Where's your weakness on that 49ers team? Where's something that the Dolphins could take advantage of to hopefully, get a little bit of a head in this game?
Yeah, I think deep shots are still a thing against this defense. And if you run play action properly, which I know Miami loves to run play action, if you can get that ran properly with the speed of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think that they could be had in the deep ball a little bit. The corner from Kansas City that we got this year, Charvarius Ward, an ex-teammate of Tyreek Hill, fantastic. If you don't know about Charvarius Ward, you are missing out. This man is definitely a top 5 corner right now in this league. He is very, very good. Talanoa Hufanga right now is the second rated safety on multiple sites right now. He is balling out of control. Gibson is playing really well. Lenore, Ward. But the one thing that none of them have is elite speed. And that's going to be tough to keep up with. Now, they are disciplined. They're smart. They're great film watchers. You don't necessarily have to be the fastest guy to keep up if you know what's coming and you know how to make reads and you're good at handing off from one zone to the next and communicating. But there have been times throughout this season where coverage has broken down, especially when the defense of line has not gotten home, usually with a mobile quarterback. And Tua is not exactly the most mobile guy as far as taking off and running, but he can move in that pocket really well. He's a great manipulator of the pocket. He knows how to get himself free to make the throws he needs to make. If he can buy himself some time and allow that coverage to break down, communication to break down, I think beating them over the top is still a possibility.
So overall, right, we both think, I think, hope Miami's going to win. You think, hope 49ers going to win. We talked about this on your channel. What needs to happen for the 49ers to win? Give me kind of your overall assessment of the game and kind of your thoughts on this is what the 49ers need to do to beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, definitely. I think time of possession is going to be huge. We talked about the Buffalo Bill game that you guys had, and you did win that game, credit to you, but they played keep away from the Dolphins. Yeah. And the one thing that we know about the Dolphins is they can score quick and they can score often. If you can limit those possessions, you give yourself a better chance. And the defense of the 49ers is great. I think they can hold up for the most part, but if you can give them time to rest also, that goes in their favor. So I think the best defense you can have, even if you have the number 1 defense in the league, when you're playing a high-powered offense, especially in today's day and age, to keep them off the field. Just keep the ball. Keep it away from them. And the 49ers are really good at running. But here's one area that I think that they can take advantage of the Dolphins a little bit. Short passing game. Yeah. That is where the 49ers are elite. And the Dolphins, according to DVOA, are one of the worst teams when it comes to the short passing game. And they do allow a lot of tackles to get broken in the middle of that field. And that's also where the 49ers excel. So I think that there's a possibility where the Dolphins can contain the run of the 49ers because the Dolphins do have a good run defense. However, the 49ers can use the short passing game as an extension of that run game, continue to run the clock, take control of the game. Maybe if you can keep it 35, 40 minutes, put a stranglehold on that offense from all sides, I think that gives the 49ers the best chance to win this game.
It's going to be a very, very good game. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about how this is game of the week. Might even be game of the year. Can't wait. Jesse, thank you so much for stopping by. But again, everyone go check out his channel, hit the subscribe button, and good luck this Sunday. Let's hope everyone stays healthy, most importantly.
That is the most important thing. And I'll say this, there's always, especially with the 49ers, man, there's always a game within the game. So many times the game's over, maybe in the third quarter. And I know as 49er fans, with the injury history we've had, listen, we're always crossing our fingers, hoping that we can get out of it healthy. I hope that for both teams. And really, I would love for this to be a matchup that we don't only see now, but we could possibly see in the Super Bowl. Talk about storylines. Right. That would be a great matchup. So, Doug, good luck to you guys this week. Thank you for having me on. Peace.
If you haven't yet, go over, check out Last Second Sports. Like I said, very, very good stuff over there. Very good, unbiased, detailed analysis over there from Jesse about the San Francisco 49ers. Like he said, he's got his buddy taking on the Detroit Lions. So let's jump into this injury report. We're going to start with the Miami Dolphins. And is it big? It's not too big. I did cut it off a little. I feel like I can still cut it off. I'm still gonna cut it off because maybe I have buddy. I feel like Wilson from Home Improvement. Anyway, Teron Armstead, he's got a toe and pec. Hasn't participated in the past 2 days. He's the biggest question mark. I'll talk about him when I don't have the injury report covering my face. Myles Gaskin has a shoulder ankle injury. He didn't participate for 2 days. And Austin Jackson with his ankle, he didn't participate. I don't expect Austin Jackson to go. I'll talk about that in a second. You have Teddy Bridgewater dealing with a knee injury. He's limited the past 2 weeks. He'll probably, Skylar still be the backup. You have Raheem Mostert limited with a knee injury. I do expect him to go on this one. Jerome Baker, full participant. Jerome Baker, Tanner Conner, Keon Crossan, Raekwon Davis, Robert Jones, Kader Kahu, and Tua Tagovailoa, all full participants. Tua is probably because of that wicked sack he took. But they're all fine. All full participants there. So like I said, I wanted to talk about a few things from the injury report. One, Austin Jackson, I don't expect him to play. I expect Brandon Shell to go back to right tackle. Then, it's kind of the continuity's back with that offensive line with Jones at left guard, Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Shell at right tackle. Shell was fantastic at right tackle. And then they decided, hey, we're going to put Austin Jackson back in there, and it all fell apart. So I think having Shell back at right tackle, and he will most likely be facing Bosa because Bosa plays on the left side of the defensive line, which in turn is the right side of the offensive line. I think that will help drastically. And then when it comes to Teron Armstead, I talked about this in a previous video. If there is no risk of him injuring himself long term, it's just a fear, right? This is a big game. If we do lose this game, and I'll talk about it more at the end of the video, Buffalo won. So if we do lose, we'll fall behind Buffalo by a game. But again, I don't want to lose Teron. Like having him sit for one game versus him pushing it, going from a grade 3 to a 2 to 3, actually full tearing it. Then we lose him for the rest of the season. Then all of a sudden so what I'm saying? I don't expect him to play. I know Mike McDaniel came out and he had his whole thing like, he's trying, I wouldn't say never, blah, blah, blah. All his, stuff that he said, I don't expect him to play. Who will be playing left tackle? I have no idea. I'm not even going to sit here and try to predict who I think it'll be, but I'll talk more about what they should do in that situation when I get to my 5 things. But that's the Miami Dolphins injury report. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers injury report. It's a little bit longer than our previous opponent. Spencer Buffer, when I did this, they didn't release their Thursday. But Christian McCaffrey, he did participate Thursday. He's going to be playing. He came out and said he will be playing. Elijah Mitchell is not playing. Charles, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. He didn't participate. And Spencer Burford didn't participate. Eric Armstead coming back is huge for their defensive line. He's another big piece. Deebo Samuel, limited, probably full. And then Jimmy Garoppolo with a knee, full there. But the big ones are CMC said he is playing. Christian McCaffrey and Eric Armstead coming back is huge for San Francisco. The Rice-A-Roni treat. You have the people are probably like, shut up. Anyway, let's get into the breakdown. And we'll look at, again, Fins offense versus 49ers defense, 49ers offense versus Fins defense. We will start with the Fins offense. They in points. They are 6th. First, the 49ers defense is really good. So in points, the Fins offense is 6th. The 49ers are 1st in the NFL in allowing points. Yards, Miami is 3rd. 49ers are 1st in not allowing that many points. Passing, the Miami Dolphins are 2nd. San Fran is 11th. So maybe there's the little edge that Miami can have. I don't expect them to go full rush. I don't expect Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert to go off because, again, we are 28th ranked in rush. They are 1st ranked in rush defense when it comes to third down. Miami Dolphins are 13th with 40.8% conversion rate on third downs. San Fran gives up a lot of third downs. They're 23rd ranked, giving up 41.6%. Red zone, the Miami Dolphins are 7th, 64.1% of the time in the red zone. They do score a touchdown. And San Fran's defense allows 56%. They are 18th ranked. So kind of evenly matched when it comes to points and yards, right? Their first defense is 1st and not allowing a lot of points and yards. Dolphins are up there, 6th and 3rd. Pass Dolphins have on the San Francisco defense, and then flip that with the rush where the San Francisco defense is just ridiculously good. Then you flip it on its head. San Fran offense, they are 15th in points. Dolphins defense actually got much better. I will show you. Defense got points for the Miami Dolphin defense is 19th. It went up from 22nd. Much better. Yards, the San Francisco 49ers offense is 10th. Miami Dolphins defense is 17th. Huge jump from 21st last week. Pass offense, the 49ers are 10th. Miami Dolphins are 22nd. That stayed. And rush, the 49ers are 11th. The Miami Dolphins are 10th, which is a huge jump up from 16th. 6th in converting fourth downs, 45.7. The Miami Dolphins are 24th, which went up from 26th last week, 41.7%. And their red zone, 15th, converting 55.6% of their red zone trips into touchdowns, whereas the Miami Dolphins are 29th. That went down, allowing 67.6% of red zone trips, ending up in a touchdown. But like I said, you look at our defense versus their offense, we definitely win in the rush defense aspect. Again, you take out what Justin Fields and what Lamar Jackson did, this rush defense is top 5. The pass defense is going to struggle a little bit, but again, bringing in Bradley Chubb, if we can get after Jimmy G, I think that will help there drastically. Jump to the part that a lot of you guys like that I added, and that is the PFF. We will be looking at our offense versus their defense first, and then their offense versus our defense when it comes to PFF grades and schematically. So you look here, we still have Jalen Waddle, top 10 wide receiver. Tyreek Hill, number 1. Tua Tagovailoa, now number 2. Raheem Mostert, 36th running back. Offensive line gets a little bit better. Shell will be playing right tackle, and I feel like that number would be much better. Jones is actually doing pretty decent at guard. We got Williams, Hunt there. And again, we don't know what's happening at left tackle, but I will talk about that in a second in the 5 things. Sherfield, again, when I get to the little beef series, Sherfield's going to be in there as well. But you look at their defense, right? Bosa. This is going to be huge. And like I said, if you look, he normally plays on left end. So he will be going up against our right tackle, and that will be Shell. So he'll have Hunt and Shell over here to help max protect against Bosa, which is going to be huge. So again, he is going to be going on this side here. But then again, they get Armstead back in the middle here. I don't know why he's so low, maybe because he hasn't played at all this season. Their linebackers, very good there. And Warner wanted the Dolphins to go out and get him. Greenlaw here. Ward is going to be going one-on-one probably with Hill. But then again, you got Waddle who can get open. Sherfield who can get open. It's going to be very dangerous there. Gibson and Hufanga. Very good safeties there. Now we're going to flip it and look at the Dolphin defense versus their offense. Kind of, their offensive line isn't too great. They got good tackles, and obviously Trent Williams and McGlinchey, but the interior of their offensive line isn't too good, and that's where Christian Wilkins, that's where a lot of these guys can feast, do a little hunts here and there, try to get on the inside, getting Jimmy Garoppolo's face up the middle more than on the outside. You got Kittle, someone extremely dangerous. I expect Eric Rowe to be on him like white on rice. Deebo Samuel, Jennings, and Ayuk. Ayuk is going to be very important. I can see Kader Kohu covering Ayuk or Xavier Howard there. And then Christian McCaffrey. Just got to keep doing what the Dolphin defense does really well and shut down the run, especially with Landon Roberts, who's fantastic at shutting down the run and just a thumper. But again, their best, one of the best left tackles, obviously the best left tackle in the NFL here, going to attack the interior and attack this opposite side. Send, Ingram and Chubb and Phillips, all these guys on the outsides to depend there. Because if you look here on our defensive line, we have a 12th ranked, 14th ranked, very big. 14th ranked Kader Kohu. Love it. This undrafted free agent. So I think I'll get more into where I think on, all this stuff at the end when I give my prediction. But that's where we stack up on paper. Now let's get to the 5 things the Miami Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this San Francisco 49ers team, which is a very, very good team. The number one thing on my list, and again, it's not from most important to least important, and this list is probably going to be very vague. You're going to be like, what the flip, Doug? You could be more specific, and I'll be more specific when I explain myself. But the number one thing on here, and I just wrote, max protect. Like I said, we got Bosa. He can make our lives incredibly difficult, especially, like I said, I don't expect Teron Armstead to play. He has 11.5 sacks. The next guy underneath him has 4 sacks. You see how big and how dominant Bosa is with that 11.5 sacks. But like I said, having Jones, Williams, Hunt, and then taking Shell and putting him back at right tackle, you don't really have to deal with much except for one piece being the left tackle. That's where all of a sudden you can have Durham Smythe, you can have Alec Ingold, you can have Jeff Wilson, who is fantastic. Alec Ingold and Jeff Wilson are fantastic at pass blocking in the backfield to help Tua get him that extra time. That is going to be the most important thing here. I don't see the Dolphins rushing a lot in this game because they haven't rushed a lot besides the few games, which was the Jets game and the Browns game where we had 100-yard rushers. Other than that, it's mostly let's just get the ball out quick with throws and not put ourselves into holes on second and long, third and long, trying to run the ball. I could see them max protecting that left side, or if they notice maybe Shell is struggling on the right side, keeping, like I said, Ingold in, having Smythe go over there, even the new left tackle, I think his name's Ham, that we brought in to help. I think he might be our starting left tackle. He wasn't too bad a few years ago. Move those pieces around, but max protect, give Tua enough time. Again, he is 50th in the NFL when it comes to time to throw with 2.5 seconds. He's also very good at pocket awareness, stepping up in the pocket, not allowing the pressure. So if the interior can allow him to step up like he did without Teron Armstead for a few drives last week, I think we could still be successful there. The number 2 thing the Miami Dolphins need to do if they want to beat the San Francisco 49ers team, they have to stop the run. Very, very, very important. They are going to be down to, 1 star running back on their roster, and Christian McCaffrey. He is a little banged up, but he will go. We stopped him last time we played him last year, but it's very important to stop Christian McCaffrey. It's very important to force San Fran to pass the ball. Now, San Francisco you heard what Jesse had to say. They like to throw those, underneath intermediate, not even intermediate. They like to dump the ball down. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a guy who's going to force the ball down the field. He's not going to be, he's essentially what people thought Tua was. He's a check down guy. Right now, he's ranked 32nd in the NFL in air yards per pass, which is 6.4 air yards. It's not good. It's 32nd ranked. So if we could stop the run and we could force them to throw the ball, they're going to be throwing a lot of checkdowns, a lot of screens, probably just Debo to Ayuk, all that underneath stuff. The Dolphins are very good at keeping everything in front of them. Not very good at making the tackles, but they're very good at keeping everything in front of them. That's why you don't see a lot of picks from Javon Holland back there, because their Dolphin defense keeps it in front. You don't see a lot of deep bombs on this defense. Got to stop that run. Don't let them control this game, like Jesse said. That's what they want to do. They want to keep our offense off the field. They want to churn on our defense and control this game. We have to stop the run. The number 3 thing, and this is where the last 3 things you're going to be like, Doug, these are very vague and convoluted, or very vague and obvious. But the number 3 thing on here, no mistakes. You're facing as much as they're facing a very good team. And the Miami Dolphins, obviously, we're 8-3. We're facing a very good team in San Fran. They have the number 1 defense in the NFL. This is a pivotal game to show who this team is. We cannot have mistakes. We cannot have interceptions, turnovers, flags in important situations. We should have beaten the Minnesota Vikings if it wasn't for all the mistakes. There was a one drive where we had multiple touchdowns on that drive that were brought back because of mistakes. This is a game you cannot have these mistakes. The Dolphins are getting better at not committing these penalties. We'll have a few here and there, but we're getting better at not doing the pass interferences, getting better at not having holds in certain situations, getting very good at not committing these mistakes. And again, this is a prime example of one of those games. This game and the Buffalo game are games you cannot make these mistakes. So no mistakes. So the number 4 thing, I was like, am I going 3 to? I went with the number 4 thing on this list the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat the San Francisco team. Make the plays. And you might be asking yourself, what? Again, this is very vague. Or you're like, no, dog. Make the plays. Catch the ball. Make the block. Hit the right lane. Catch the interception. Get the fumble. There's been so many times where we cause the fumble, we don't get it. It's a third and so situation or whatever, dropped. It's a drop touchdown from Chase Edmonds that would have put us in a different situation against Cincinnati. There's all these different situations where just make the play. Just do your job. Make the block, make the tackle, get the interception, just make the play. And again, this is very obvious. Doug, we're playing football. Obviously, you need to make the plays. Yes, we're still winning without doing it, though. If you watch last week's game, there should have been an interception in the very beginning of the game that wasn't. Xavier Howard dropped it. And eventually he gets the scoop and score, but got to make the plays. If you have the opportunity in this game to make the play, you have to. You can't leave plays, points, or anything on that field. And the last and final thing the Miami Dolphins have to do, and this is, you can be like, Doug, this is kind of the same thing as make the play. Number 5 thing, team effort. All facets of the game need to win. Normally, there's certain games where the defense does really well and the offense kind of falls apart. That was more during the 3-game losing streak where our defense was holding Minnesota to 10 punts. Our defense, 19-17 against the Jets. Cincinnati, at one point, we were, it was a 1-score game where defense was doing their thing and the offense just couldn't do theirs. And then you got the Bears game, you got the Lions game, you got the Ravens game where our offense was scoring like crazy and the defense couldn't make the stops. We need a full team win. Special teams, make the tackles. Don't let them, kick return against the Ravens. Don't let them get into good field position against the Bears and the Browns. Don't let these things happen. Special teams, make the field goals. Team effort. It needs to be a team win. It can't be the offense is doing their thing and then finally the defense makes their last stop and, we're all sitting here with a pants filled with poopy because we're freaking the flip out. Team effort. We need a team win here. That being said, now I got a lot of things to talk about. Miami Dolphins. This is important. This is important because of one, Buffalo won, and if we fall behind Buffalo, we're never going to hear the end of it. But it was still nice to be number 1 for how many weeks, so they all could suck a butt. But this is a win that all of a sudden people will look at this team differently, right? A lot of people look at our 5-game winning streak and say, "Oh, look what they faced: the Texans, the Browns, the Bears, the Lions, the Steelers. Those aren't good teams. And San Fran, don't take any offense to this. But look at the teams San Francisco lost to. The Falcons, 28-14. The Broncos, 11-10. The Bears, 19-10. And they only scored 13 points against the Saints, winning that one 13-0 last week. You win the games you need to. You win the games you're supposed to, and you shouldn't be ridiculed for that. Also, especially because some of these guys that are saying that are AFC East team fans, and they play the same flipping teams. That being said, though, this is very important. You got to win this game. You got a beef going on right now, right? With Raheem Mostert comes out, he does an interview where he talks about. They ask him about this team, and he says we have way better talent here, right? We have a quarterback who can sling it. And San Francisco fans and San Francisco players think that he is essentially talking about San Francisco when he's talking about Miami compared to last year, compared to when Tua's not there. He even came out and said it. I'm not talking about Jimmy Garoppolo when he says we have a quarterback who could sling it. He doesn't say we have a quarterback who could sling it compared to, or now I have a quarterback who could sling it. He's saying we have a quarterback who could sling it. Essentially saying I got a good quarterback here. But they're getting in the feelings. Deebo Samuel comes out and says, Raheem, be real with yourself. Charles, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, says someone thinks they're going to run crazy on our defense is funny. Where did he say any of this stuff? So as people get in their feelings, he even came out and was like, I never said any of that stuff. I even, praised Jimmy. So you got a little bit of beef going on there. You also got ESPN. This is where the Dolphins want to come out, really shut people up. You got ESPN, Stephen A. talking about, I'm not wishing any harm on Tua, but that's what San Fran needs to do. They need to be physical. You got Bart Scott coming out saying this disgusting stuff. They're talking about who do you want for the next 10 weeks or next 10 years. Saying I'm not even going to repeat it because it's ESPN, but this is a pivotal game. Dolphins need to win this game. Not for playoff standings, because it's an NFC team, but for bragging rights. Also to keep first place in the AFC East and second place in the AFC. That's also very important. I think this game is going to come down to our offense versus their defense. I think their offense is very good, but I think our defense matches up in the area where their offense is the best, which is running the ball. And I think we have one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. So I think we can get after Jimmy G. I think we could force him to make stupid plays. I think we could force him to throw underneath. It's been a while since, I think 3 games since he's had a turnover, so I think he's due for one. I think it's going to come down to, can our offense score on their defense? And I personally think that the Miami Dolphins, when it comes down to it, I think this is going to be a very close game, a very tight game. But I think when push comes to shove, I think the Dolphins will make the play they need to. I think they'll get this win, and I think they're going to shock the world. Because I think only 2 people picked the Dolphins to win this one on NFL Network. So I have the Dolphins winning 24-21. I think it'll come down to the Dolphin defense making a stop to win the game. But again, this is going to be crazy close. If you're watching it, don't at any point think that the Dolphins are out of it, because look at the Ravens game when we were down 21 points. Look at the Bears game when we were down a certain amount of points. Look at the Lions game where we were down a certain amount of points in the first quarter. This is a hard-fought team. That being said, let's go out, play hard, play smart. No injuries. Let's get this W and keep the number 1 position in the AFC East. Other than that, guys, I'll see you Sunday, 4 o'clock this time. Going to be a little later, but I'll see you guys. And like usual, stay classy. And fins up.